Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the City Chatter Podcast. I'm your host, John Bernstrom, Public Information Officer for the City of Grand Forks. And for episode 47, we invite the man, the myth, the legend, Mayor Brandon Bochenski. Oh, camera. There you are. Sorry, I got to hit the right camera. Yeah, how you doing, Mayor?
Quite the intro. We're up to 47 episodes of this now.
47 episodes.
I remember the infancy of this, and it's been good.
Yeah, it is.
I'm glad that gets a chance for everyone to get some info out and get to know them.
Working out pretty well. So let's dive right in. First of all, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and everything in between.
Thank you.
Is that a big thing in your household?
So my wife is a huge Christmas. So we've got right now we're going through the Advent calendar, and she has a gift for each of our kids, and it's like an Andes mint or something tiny. But every single day of the Advent, so for 24 days, the kids will get a little gift, and we read the book with the little bear going to Jerusalem. So it's a fun thing that we do. So as you can imagine, Christmas is a big deal. So we've got the tree up. The tree didn't quite have the right lighting, so I put more lights on. I got trees out front. I'm still getting shame every year for not putting, Christmas lights on the roof. And I said, I just know that's
your house is 2 stories, right?
I'm gonna fall to my death, and it'll just be not worth it.
I'm gonna talk more on Christmas later. I'm curious how Christmas was as a professional athlete in a foreign country.
Okay.
As I'm just the whole aspect. I bounced this off my wife. She goes, "That's a good question. Ask him that." But let's get into some city business. Housing. Right. So lots of discussion around housing, whether it's new developments. We need more housing. What type of housing do we need? Should we use pilots, payment in lieu of taxes for housing, going before different commissions? So let's just talk briefly. Just the housing situation in Grand Forks. I mean, frankly, we need more housing. And when I say housing, I mean apartments, I mean condos, I need single family. Can you just talk about just some of the things and why this is potentially the byproduct of good things happening?
Well, we need it all across the spectrum. Obviously, what I campaign on, what I truly believe in is home ownership. So the more we can push people towards home ownership, that's great. We've been historically low, around 44%. The national average is about 63%, which is similar to across the state. We have a university town. We have an air-based town. So you're going to have a little bit more transit. So you're going to have more people that require apartments. And then with all the construction that we've got going on, things like the sports complex, the hospital that just wrapped up, we're going to have the underpass. I mean, we've got so much going on, which is phenomenal. But with that, obviously, we need to keep up on housing. So our population is growing faster than the housing stock, and the issue is really just been new construction costs and interest rates. So you've seen obviously a large amount of inflation, and it's been really hard for someone to justify building apartments. So we're seeing rents climb up. We're only seeing houses that are very expensive getting built. So I think we do need to continue to promote, single family homes. It's something that I'm looking at doing in my private business too, is to try to, did construction land development, finished one development, haven't done much since. So it's needed on all fronts. We need kind of everybody to pitch in, but when we have an opportunity for a project that can get built, and it's something that won't get built unless we look at a tax incentive, it's something that we've been aggressive with. And I think in the years to come, people will look back and this will be a pivotal moment that we decided to act, so we didn't end up in a housing situation like San Francisco or other cities that got way behind it, and you price people out, and their growth and the homelessness and all the things that come with it can be quite an issue.
So just a quick question from a city administrative standpoint, when these developers come forward, and we're not talking building a single home and wanting a 20-year tax break. They're building massive multi-million-dollar type complexes, apartments, condos, stuff like that. Are you seeking them out as administration, or are they coming to you saying, hey, I have an idea, but in order to get this over the finish line, I need this? How does that mechanism work?
Yeah, they definitely come to us. Anybody. It doesn't matter who the developers are. The people that have been willing to take the risk have been the same people. But certainly, if there's an outside developer, if there's a group that wants to come together and build one, we'll hear it from anybody, and they'll say, here's a project that we'd love to do, but it's, if your interest rate is higher than what your return is on the project, you can't get any leverage in the larger project you do, the more money that you lose. So. I think the big difference, and people say, and we're working on something now with, and we'll see if we can get Dan Goss, the city attorney, to sign off on it, eliminating the property tax on the city portion side and going to a little bit higher franchise fee, a little bit higher sales tax, more of a consumption tax, but still less than our relative peers in the region. So we're still looking at that, but housing, when you look at single family homes, you have much more of a footprint. It's more expansive, it's more sprawling growth, so it's a lot harder. When you have something that's already on infrastructure, it's already in our patrol areas, it's easier to get a project done there because you don't have to make any more investments in roads, any more investments in police, fire, those types of things. It's already existing in there. So that's how we've been more aggressive with the infill type developments, because For example, this last one, low to moderate income, it was paying, I think it was $162 in taxes. Because
Right.
in the state of North Dakota, it can be zoned whatever, but it's still ag land until it hits the certain requirements.
Right.
So it was valued at ag. So even with this project, it's going to pay $63,000. You get a project done, you get the economic activity of that, and in the future, you'll get much larger sums of property taxes. So stimulating some of that growth, I think in the years to come, long after I'm done being mayor, and hopefully my kids are growing up, we're going to see even greater benefit than today. So I always look at it as we're sacrificing maybe a little bit today to ensure for a brighter future, and that's something we used to do a lot in our country, and we've kind of gone away from that.
Well, it's from out. I'll say it right. Just the world in general, you get a little short-sighted. Like only see a few years out, and maybe not 20 to 25.
And I think that's been I don't want to go too broad here, but if you look at the politics, it's 2-year cycles for House members, it's 6-year cycles for senators, and then they're rotating, and it's people are trying to what's the best for the next 2 years, the next election cycle. They're not thinking like our forefathers did. What's best for the next 100 years, and we need to get back to that mentality. And it's hard because people are struggling trying to get through things, but our lives are a lot better than they were back when our country was getting founded, and we should be pretty grateful that we've largely people have food, have a roof over their head, have pretty amazing technology and comforts that the average person that's low income today would have lived like a king 200, 300 years ago.
Yeah, you talk with anybody who's maybe not from this country, and they're just like, no, this is the dream. This is the life in the United States. The life in North America is what everyone else is striving for.
And some of that probably, seeing that when I was in Kazakhstan, lived there for 8 years. You have, anything from opulent wealth to extreme poverty in a relatively small geographical area. So you got to see a lot of that and see the dynamics and how, people were so grateful for what they have when they didn't have much. I mean, it's really sort of humbling, but really eye-opening at the same time.
Like I say, I grew up on a farm and I didn't realize I was poor. Just food was always on the table, right?
Yeah.
At Christmas time, a tree went up. You didn't think anything of it. I look back now and I'm like, boy, we were pretty poor.
Yeah, we were. I mean, I was in the same boat. We had 7 kids. My dad had left when we were younger, and there was a lot of we lived with our grandparents, moved to my grandparents' house. I mean, we didn't have a lot of food. We had enough to get by, but if you wanted to eat, you finished your portion first because there's a little bit of that hamburger helper left.
That's right. It was a race.
You had to be done first, before mom would let you dish it out. So.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, okay, so we talked about so there's lots of great growth going on in Grand Forks, whether it's businesses, UND, Air Force Base, and all this stuff. There's at least more house. You early on in your as being mayor, you talked about quality of life. We want people to be able to stay here. Or want to stay here. And that 42nd Street corridor is going to be completely different here in about 3 years, maybe even less. Just you've got Ultra Sports Complex, you got Children's Museum, let alone the underpass, overpass, and potentially what's going on at Ray Richards Golf Course. That's game-changing type of stuff that's going on over there.
And that's really what that corridor was meant to be 20 years ago with the Alara Center getting in there, and then Canad in later. Then all those hotels popped up. So it's really kind of odd that it had all the hotels first before
it's
it had
happening in reverse.
The entertainments. But it's going to be pretty phenomenal for people that are coming to our community and from the region or further, or driving down I-29. It's going to be a lot tougher reason to drive by now when you got all that activity there. So it's pretty exciting. So the shift, I talk about this a lot. I mean, when I first came into office, I was really focused on wages, and I think we've seen the business growth and we've seen some wage growth. And I always talk about I went to Russia to play hockey. I didn't go there because Russia's nice. I went there because I got paid well. That's why I went there.
Yeah.
So I really came in with that belief, and then seeing the younger generations looking at the communities that they want to live in and keeping families here. We had to do more in the quality of life, and you get days like today, absolute blizzard. You need indoor spaces. The mall has struggled, so we've had to find other things for people to do. So looking at many of those investments, even that Beacon Square, when that gets done, that'll be great. The Greenway, we're looking at
in the downtown area
there, Riverside Pool, and then the Children's Museum, the Aquatics and Sports Center, more concerts at the Alara Center. All this thing feeds into it. And then lastly, the wages still help. I mean, if you have more disposable income, you can work less hours. You can maybe save up, start a business. So there's quality of life features across all of it, and we need to catch up a little bit more on the amenities in the community. And I think that'll help with our growth and help with our wages, and really be a community people want to live in. And when you have young families, that's where you're, if you really want to talk about a thriving community, you need to have young people, and that means families.
Well, and that puts you at, churches, schools, generally single family homes, right? You talk about putting roots down in a community.
Yeah, parks, all that stuff. I mean, but again, housing is going to be an issue, and that's something that we're going to have to keep working on. I saw a stat now: the average age of a first-time home buyer has jumped to like 38 years old.
Oh, really?
It is pretty insane to think of that's where we're at. So, lots more work needs to be done there, and we're definitely willing to do the work to help improve that situation.
Yeah, I didn't know that stat. That was something. Speaking of 42nd, can you talk a little bit? It was at planning and zoning last week of the Ray Richards Golf Course, Sweet Shots, Top Golf, whatever, driving range, apartment building, but they've kind of reconfigured that. It's going through the meeting process now. It just started, so we got a couple of months left. Meeting process now. Sounds like UND's maybe met some of the questions of the neighborhood there. Just what have you seen on that and that moving forward?
What a great project. I mean, this is going to save Ray Richards for the foreseeable long-term future. It's a course that, has been shut down for many years.
Yeah, it was shut down for a while.
Many different housing options. It's a university district zone, so they could put, a new medical school. They could put whatever they want there. So keeping it as a 9-hole golf course, adding some housing feature to it, which will be great, and adding that Sweet Shots. And then keep in mind, it's state land, so it's never been taxable. It never will be unless you put some commercial development on it. So they met. I was at a lot of those early meetings. The neighborhood, they didn't want the Top Golf thing by them. They don't want any stuff by them. I mean, they don't own the land, but they're close to it. So I'm sure they want to have some say in what happens, which is great that UND did the work to hear them out. They wanted the Top Golf moved. They put a ton of work in, really expensive to figure out the engineering and how they could move it to the other.
Lots of stormware type work over there. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of work to get that done. They shrunk I think 50% of where it was originally for an occupancy. I think they had 360.
For the apartment,
176 or something. So they listened to all of the questions, all the concerns, and they completely changed the project into something completely different and still a really great project. I think you still got some people, we're in the society now where there's no compromise. If I don't get a full victory and win, I'm not going to stop. But that's what was asked for by the neighborhood. They got it. I know there's some that's not enough and they want to keep it the same, but I think in the long term, it's going to be a betterment for that whole area, including the multifamily townhouses that are right next to it.
And how this process will go is it's the zoning process right now, so it'll go before council, go back to planning and zoning, come back before council for final. So this isn't even the site plans or whatever. They're just working on the zoning of the space right now, but that process has started.
Yeah, you get a lot of feedback. There's a lot of opportunity to voice your opinions on it. And I think it got a unanimous decision at the
P&Z it did, yeah.
So it has. It's been fully reworked, and it'll be probably February before that one's fully through. Maybe late January. So I know we'll look at it on the 15th, and it goes back to P&Z, and then
comes back to council. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, with all that going on, you've also been working with the airport stuff, commercial air service, and some news that came out here about a month ago of Delta's going to be adding a 4th flight. They're changing the airplane that's being used out of Grand Forks. Is that what that's part of it too? But a 4th flight with maybe more flights down the road.
Yeah, it's definitely a good start. Is it the end all be all to solve our air service? Absolutely not. It actually resulted in a few less seats, but the time banks hit up better, so I think they'll be more utilized. So we'll have a larger load factor, which will help us drive more here. The business community really has pushed that they need more options because they can't hit those banks in Minneapolis to catch their layovers to the next flight leg. So now I think it's 5:15, something around 10. I don't know if it's 2 o'clock and then it's 7, something like that. So. Definitely more convenient, more opportunity there, but that's not the big, the big win is still getting United in here, and we're working with them, and we're really hoping Denver's what we've been pushing for. That's what we got the grant for. We were hoping to hear it by year end. It's looking like it's probably going to be February before they make a decision. Now, I hope that doesn't keep getting extended out. But to your story, it's a CRJ 550 is what the plane's called. So it's a mod that SkyWest had done on a lot of these CRJ jets where they've reduced them from 70 seats down to 50 seats. So you have a lot more comfort. It's a lot bigger hull. So it'll be a very comfortable and convenient flight to Minneapolis. And we're hoping that those will be the same jets that can make it to Denver, but they're still testing. Obviously you have higher altitude, you have different loads, different stuff like that going in and out of Denver because you're over a mile high. So it would be SkyWest that would fly that United portion as well. So everything's kind of lining up. You can't get ahead of it, but I think we've pitched a really good case, and we fought like heck, and we're not going to stop. So we'll get it eventually, one way or another.
No, I thought that was good news. You and I had a lot of back and forth of getting that one done. From the agribusiness standpoint, can you give any updates on Agristo, Epitome, NPN just had their letter of intent extended yesterday. Just how the agribusiness type environment is going.
We'll go in reverse order because I get more excited as we
Okay.
from that direction. NPN, that was a project that the nitrogen fertilizer project that when I first came into mayor, being the mayor, I heard about this and that Larry Mackey had come in and they talked about, this project's imminent. We're very close. And I've heard that same story for 5.5 years. We're going on 6 years now. So I hope it happens. We need nitrogen fertilizer in this area. We're at the very end of the supply chain. Obviously, very expensive projects or multi-billion-dollar projects. So I get that. So we're not putting a lot of work into it. We're just extending the usage of wastewater. I mean, they just have a.
Frankly, right now, all that we've put into that is a letter.
Yeah. So it hasn't been a whole heck of a lot of work. Same with the pitting. We're kind of on a holding pattern right now. We've seen egg prices. We've seen a lot of things sort of shuffle here with different moves that Trump's made. So we're all trying to play catch up with that. There's some federal issues there. They're trying to raise money too. So I still think it has a pretty good likelihood of the project getting done. But obviously the big winners, Agristo, they're already starting work now. I know they're meeting with different trucking people, different contractors, subcontractors. So they've been really busy. And the key there is, what we're pushing now is if they can have an early 2028 start date for their factory, they'll start buying crop in 27 and storing it. So you'll get a whole nother year for farmers. If it's like, August, September before the plant gets done, their first crop will be, 28 crop. So you can move forward a whole nother year and they won't be at full capacity right away either. So that's really exciting. That is such a win. We, I talk about how tough it was to get that one across the finish line. They were all set to go to Wisconsin. We had to fight like heck. We sold them on the community. We sold them on the financial package, and we just sold them on that we're going to be there in good days and bad. And ultimately, they changed direction, didn't go to Stevens Point, Wisconsin, came to Grand Forks, North Dakota.
I like how when they've come to council before, they said the turning point were the people.
Yeah.
The farmers, they go, we can grow potatoes, but we want to work with people. We want the same people to work with that we're used to working with.
And some of the factors of, the workforce and just the community, they really like the safe feel of it. They like the quality of life investments. They like the availability of infrastructure. All the things that we lined up set ourselves up to be able to bring a company like that in. A company looking for its first North American site.
Right.
We picked in the entire country. I picked Grand Forks, North Dakota. I mean, that's a win, and we got to be proud of ourselves for pulling that off.
Yeah, that's sometimes tough for us to do around here. Is pat ourselves on the back. That's a Midwestern Scandinavian
it's not that we got to pat ourselves on the back. We just got to be proud of where we come from. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. With this stuff, there's also a time where we talk about we mentioned NPN and Epitome and down the road and all this stuff, but the conversation of energy, specifically natural gas. That's a big one. There's discussions at the state of getting natural gas out of the Bakken, moving it east. We currently get natural gas out of the Minnesota side, so creating a loop. You just talk about the importance of the natural gas energy to this community and what it could do for the future.
Yeah, that's going to be big. We want to keep natural gas in the state as much as possible. Even the Viking line, as that comes down from Canada and then runs through western Minnesota, there is some North Dakota gas that ends up getting routed that way. But having a direct line right now, they're going to bring it west, probably kind of along 94, and then at some point we could get a branch line to come up here, which would be great. But we are, we're getting limited. There's some options that we could still get gas from the east in the future, but we're really butted up against it as far as with Agristo. We can have residential growth, but to bring another large industrial player, we need to have more. If you're going to have, natural gas energy production as well, you're going to need more. And talking with Minn Kota, natural gas is. They'd rather have a transmission line, have natural gas, plant somewhere, and then it's easier to have a transmission line from there. But at the same time, the industry that we're bringing in, they're using natural gas for more than energy production. They're using it for different processes, drying.
So they actually
heating.
need the gas, not the power from the gas
itself. So we are lucky that we have a tremendous amount of water supply. Granted, we can have droughts and other things, but we have the Red River is a great water source. The Red and the Red Lake River being at the fork, so our water availability is massive. In average years. So we have that ahead of Fargo, Wahpeton, other places that are near us. So if we can get the natural gas to go with that, we're going to see more of these projects like Agristo, and we are in Egg Valley. Better, the more we can get for basis on our crops, and the more we can see high value crops being grown around here, that money pours in, and our overall income of the community rises.
I've said it I've lived in Grand Forks now. I'm coming up close to 30 years. But if the farmers do well in this area, everyone does well in this area.
Yeah.
Right? There's a trickle down from the ag community that is pretty impressive.
And we've diversified, clearly into healthcare,
Oh, yeah.
education, UAS, high tech types of things. But the meat and potatoes, figuratively
Right.
and literally,
Right.
is our farming community, and God bless them.
Yep. All right. So my question to you, we touched on Christmas at the beginning here. So in my home, right, you go, we did this on Thanksgiving, or we do this at Christmas, and you have Christmas and you do all the Christmas things, and then generally I turn on a game. Right? So as a person who played professional sports, what are the holidays like on a team where you don't get the traditional let's say that I get of a holiday break? Like you may get a summer break. How do holidays look like in a locker room?
Well, I guess I'll work when I played in the NHL. We a lot of times would have Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve games, so you didn't get
Right.
much in and around there, but you'd make it work with your teammates or family that would come out. Now, when I went to Kazakhstan and I'm playing over there, now it's talk about watching a football game. Well, you got a 12-hour time change.
Oh,
so
sure.
You want to watch the Super Bowl? It's 5 a.m.
Right.
That's not quite as fun as watching it at 5 p.m.
Right.
The cool thing is we a lot of Canadians on the team, so we had 2 Thanksgivings. We do the Canadian Thanksgiving, then we do the
there you
American
go.
Thanksgiving. So that became your family. You spend time with, not just your teammates that were Russians, but the Swedes, the Czechs, the Canadians that were there. We got to be pretty close. I played with the same line for six and a half of the years
Right.
that I was there out of the 8. So we were really close. But that's part of the reason that I retired. It was 8 years away from families for Christmas, Thanksgiving,
Yep.
birthdays, anniversaries. So it was time to come back home. So it was always bittersweet, but we made the most of it. We made a community out of it over there. And it was our life for quite a while.
You were captain for a while. Did some of that funtivities fall on you to organize? Like as the quote unquote, captain of the team, the leader of the team?
I don't know how much it was that I was the captain that was responsible for doing that, or just that my wife was really good at organizing.
Oh, sure.
So she was probably Mrs. Captain to make that happen.
There you go. As
but,
your house has multiple Christmas trees up now.
Yeah, and I think, me and one other teammate, we kind of had a lot of the kids. He had, I think, 4 kids. I had 3. Some of the other
Right.
guys were just having kids. So the families were the ones that
Holidays
were putting it
change
together.
when the families get
Yeah,
yep.
so between the 2 of us, it was usually at one person's house or apartment or the other.
I
So,
totally get that. Now, I wasn't in a different country or whatever, but my previous job, I worked weekends and holidays and stuff like that. And the job was fine when I was single. There was no problem with that. And then I met my wife, and we didn't even have a family yet, and we were just dating. And I'm like, well, you know what? Nights off would be nice.
Yeah.
A Saturday would be nice. It's amazing how that changes perception, and it changed pretty quick.
Well, and
for the better, I feel.
And the cool thing in Russia, they don't celebrate really on Christmas Day. It's the Orthodox calendar that they go off of. So you have like almost a full week off after New Year's. So we would have that off in the hockey season. So
Oh, okay.
our real celebration was like January 1st to January 7th, something like that. So we would travel and go to like Dubai or Abu Dhabi because that was the warmest place that one flight would get us to. So
Exactly.
spent a lot of time there when we had little holiday breaks. But so their Christmas, we'd kind of celebrate Christmas, but the Russians were like, "What are you guys doing? This isn't Christmas."
Sure.
Is like,
Your week
after."
off.
So it wasn't as much of a Christmas celebration as it was a New Year. So Snovim Godum would always be their saying over there. And you didn't have a traditional red Santa Claus. You had Father Christmas, who was like this holiday Christmas that was dressed in blue. So a few things were kind of different, but we made it. We always made it work.
Santa Claus is Americanized because of Coke, right? You go to the rest of the world, and it's
a little different.
It's a little bit different. No,
Yeah.
hey, I appreciate you sharing that. I love hearing from different perspectives and Christmas is one of those holidays, right? It's around the world holiday, but everyone treats it a little bit differently, and the story behind it is all the same. Yeah.
I mean, it really was. It was just kind of, you get together, whatever family you got, you get together. And I think that's what everyone should be doing, regardless of where you are in the world.
Perfect. Mayor, thank you for joining us. Episode 47. You have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. Let's keep things quiet until we get to the new year. It's holiday time. I say that as an employee, not as...
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for all the hard work this past year, to all our city employees and the whole community. It's just it's been a great year, and hopefully 26 brings even more.
Awesome. Oh, you have your shovel in your car?
I'm going to go home and do some cleaning up right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little past due, but
It's a teenage son at home. I'm like, hey, get that shovel in your
we're
car.
going to have a white Christmas. That's been
We
guaranteed.
sure are. Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching this episode. You can catch this episode or any future episode or past, excuse me, you can watch future ones too. Any past episodes of the City Chatter podcast at grandforksgov.com/podcast. Have a happy new year. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll catch you next year.